Building sector. Again, the same kind of model. A lot of the building trades have many things in common. That would be the technical core. You see some wings on that don't share a whole lot in common. When we get to transportation, truck driving really doesn't have a lot in common with auto mechanics. So there will be continued some standalone programs. Boat building, that's the program here at Pamlico. Dr. Cox took me on the tour of that facility. It's really nice. But they probably don't have a whole lot in common with conventional carpentry and plumbing and those types of skills. So again, what we're doing basically is going through a skills gap analysis. What are we teaching? What do we need to be teaching? So how do we get from where we are to where we need to be? What do we need to develop in terms of new courses, new curriculum, new competencies to get from point A to point B? And that's basically what those steps, those slides say. In energy, this is the sector that's being run by Andy out of Central Carolina. These are some of the programs we're looking at. Again, we're not trying to create a solar program or a wind program. We've been to conferences. I've been to a number of conferences throughout the country. Gloria's shaking her head. There have been colleges that have created wind and solar programs. Guess what? They're closing the doors on many of those programs for the reasons that we talked about earlier. They're too narrow, they're too focused, they're too niche, and the industry hasn't quite gotten there yet in many cases. So why not train an individual to be a good electrician with some solar PV skills, and when the solar PV industry develops to the point that Dr. Stevens is projecting it will, not just Dr. Stevens, it will, we will have technicians ready. In the meantime, they can work in conventional electrical trades. Does that make sense? I think it makes perfect sense. Okay? So, energy has, so you don't see things here that might first come to mind in terms of energy. You see programs like electrical electronics, industrial systems. Well, let's look at just the magnitude of those programs. For electrical and electronics, there's 44 colleges. Industrial systems, there's 40 colleges. For HVAC, there's 35 colleges. In fact, there are only 4 colleges in the entire North Carolina Community College system who do not offer one or more of those programs. Only 4. If we can change those 3 programs, we've in effect changed 98% of the programs in North Carolina and have put green and sustainable technologies into 98% of our colleges. That'll be remarkable. That'll be revolutionary. So again, going back, solar PV, that's basically an electrical electronics type of program. Solar thermal, HVAC, ground source heat pumps, HVAC, biofuels. It's just pumping fluids, whether it's hydraulic fluid or biofuels or whatever the case might be, it's pumping fluids. It's an industrial systems program. Wind, electrical, mechanical. And again, kind of the same thing. Going through a skills gap analysis. Where are we at? Let's look at the curriculum. Let's look at the courses. Let's look at the syllabi. Let's identify the skills that we need. Let's identify the skills that we have and the skills that we need and modify the part of the curriculum that we need to do it. Engineering technology. Ms. Carly, she usually kicks me in the shins when I run out of time. Okay. Engineering technology is basically doing the same thing with many of the engineering disciplines. So I'll stop at that point and see if there is a question or two that maybe we can address. There's another session at 1:30 that we're going to go into more detail and tell you some of the specifics in terms of the things that we're doing in terms of developing a sustainable curriculum. So, if there are no questions? Yes?
Is there somewhere that you better see what kind of courses being offered throughout the entire community college system?
Definitely. That's one of the beauties, and that's one of the things that sets North Carolina apart is our combined course library and our curriculum standards. Both I'm trying to rush too much. Both are housed at the Community College, North Carolina Community College System website, and they're there every single course you can look at, the content, the course description, credit hours and everything. Yes?
So tonight's going to be like an interview with continuing education and credit programs, or are they going to be able to be voted and they get credit for them? See what I'm saying?
Thank you, Joy. That's a good point. I didn't mention that, but one of the goals of the CIP is to better align non-credit and credit learning so that students don't have to go through a non-credit program, learn some skills, decide that they want to go even further and have to retake that training. And so we're going to try to develop the best practices and some guidelines on how to make that more comfortable for institutions to do that. It calls into question the issues with SACs and accreditation and those types of things. But yes, the answer is definitely yes. Okay. Thank you. Okay.
What contacts were some people in charge of the
Again, we can do that in the afternoon session, but the individuals' names are up here. If you'll see me, I'll get back to get you business cards.
Actually, I think all of the contact info for those folks is in the packet
Okay.
On the participant list. Even the ones that aren't here, I think their contact info is on that.
Thank you.
Butch,
Question, if we email members, if we get this information pertaining to different areas, do they have sources of access?
We have a Blackboard repository of where we're housing a lot of the information. But yes, the sector director, these individuals up here can get you documents in terms of what we've done and what we've completed at this point.
All that information on the criminal funds.
Andy, tall guy in the back, stand up, Andy.
I see a break, Andy.
okay, good. Well, that's and good to that point. Really, that's exactly the kind of thing we hope can happen here today, and that's why we did provide that list, the participant list, with all the contact information, so that if you're hearing people talk about something that you want to know more about, you know, you can talk to them here. You also have how to get in touch with them afterwards, and we hope this will be a good place to forge more conversations like that. And so we're going to take a quick break, and come back and then talk more about the economic outlook for the region and what the green jobs potential growth is. And so, but let's, I've got 10:20 right now, so we'll give it about 5 extra minutes. 10:35, we'll come back from the break. All right, thanks.